Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. We are in festive wear and dressed to the nines. And
you look fabulous in that coat.
The holidays are magical. One Christmas morning, we woke up and a bag of presents showed up on our front door. There was something truly miraculous or magical about it.
It really does boil down to, what do you believe? Do you believe in miracles? There's just miracles everywhere if one chooses to see it that way and believes in miracles.
Do you believe that you are capable of miracles, that miracles live in you? Do you believe that there is good within you? I choose to believe that there are. Magic is not something outside of being human. It's actually something germane to being human.
Who knows what miracles you can achieve? When you believe, you will when you believe. The holidays simply are faith, hope, joy, and love. Happy holidays, everybody. We wish you all faith, hope, joy, and love.
Welcome to Simply Enough. This is Zachary and Elizabeth, and thanks for tuning in.
If you're liking our podcast, we'd love it if you'd share with your friends and family.
And then rate and review to raise our visibility and spread the message of enoughness.
We love you, and remember, you are simply enough.
Just as you are.
Period.
Hello, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
I'm Mr. Zachary Leonard.
I'm Dr. Elizabeth Ignacio.
And welcome to our big holiday episode here at Simply Enough. Hooray! For those of you that are listening, go to YouTube, check us out, because we are dressed to the nines in our red, and Dr. Ignacio has a beautiful red dress on, a little Santa hat, and I've got my fun, fancy kind of red green plaid coat.
You look fabulous in that coat.
I just love this coat so much with the black rounded lapel and everything. But yes, we are in festive wear, and it is the holiday season, as you know, with our previous episodes. And even though we are in more Christmas related attire, this is really the holiday season for any and everybody that celebrates any of their holidays. So while we are people that celebrate Christmas, to all of you, happy holidays, and thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Dr. Ignacio, if you don't mind, there's a story that I've wanted to share, and I hope I can use it to kick off our episode today, because it's a pretty special memory that I have growing up that for me is very much tied to the holidays. Mm-hmm. And I will say, first and foremost, my parents, even though we were not a family of many means, my parents really tried to make the holiday special for us. And, you know, my mom, who was the one that was largely taking care of the gifts and whatnot, she knew that kids just wanted to open presents, right? On Christmas morning, we just wanted to open presents. And we also needed socks and underwear and shirts and things like that. So we would get gifts wrapped, like our socks were wrapped and whatnot. So we had a lot of blessings at Christmas time. Even though there wasn't a lot of money to be spent, we were still very fortunate that there was a bag from Santa that had lots of gifts in it. And it was just the act of opening things up. But so to just put that out there, my parents really did try to make the holidays magical for us in that regard. But we were also acutely aware that money was always tight. And, you know, the long Christmas list that children have at Christmas time, chances are you weren't going to get anything or get everything on the list, or you had to rank them in the hopes that you actually could. And so, you know, even as children, we knew that, like, Christmas was also a moment for the people who maybe had more, and then the people that maybe had less. And for 8-year-old or 5-year-old or 6-year-old to have that kind of perspective is one that I carry with me into adulthood, and it's connected with this story. So one Christmas morning, we woke up, and, you know, I didn't even know that we actually went to bed, you know, because Christmas Eve, we're so excited, right? Santa's coming and everything. You can barely fall asleep. And one year I was so wide awake that I asked my sister if I could borrow her Richard Marx tape and her Walkman. Kids, I know.
The Walkman.
I'm there with my my sister's Richard Marx tape and my Walkman, trying to fall asleep, because we just were so excited to wake up on Christmas morning. The true magic of that Christmas morning was not that my parents, in all of their loveliness with the gifts and stuff that they got, but that there were people in our community, our church community, that we still don't know, put together a bag of presents that showed up on our front door. And the look on my parents' face when they saw that, right? And I didn't even remember who found it. I think maybe my dad went to go get the paper or something, because, you know, at that time people were still getting the paper delivered, and he would walk out and pick it up and come back in. And he saw this bag. And what was amazing about this was not only were there presents for all of us in there, but there was a note that our tuition for our Catholic education was paid for, which,
oh my God,
not only, you know, to us kids were there gifts like, oh my God, we got things, right? But to my parents, this was the stressor for them, right? They really didn't have a lot of money, but they were invested in Catholic education. And because they were invested in that, that came with a strain, right? There were consequences to that. And it was month by month. How are we going to pay tuition? Where's the money going to come from? And to see the look on their face when they saw that note, and just the stress and the lightness that came about them, in addition to this massive bag of gifts with our names on it and things like, you know, that my parents wouldn't have ever been able to afford, it just was a very different Christmas for us. And the reason why it still stuck with me, and I still get emotional about it, is because it was the first time that I think I was acutely aware of what paying it forward was, and how people can participate in seeing others and doing things to help others. But it also came at the holidays. And for young, impressionable Zach, there was something truly like miraculous or magical about it. And I think about that often. And I've talked with my family about that moment, and it's stuck with my siblings too. Like my sister and I will talk about it. My brother and I will talk about it. And for me, I need to share that story. I need to share that story because, look, it still lives with me, and I still want to like pay it forward with others. And we do things now to continue that. But just that one moment, and we never know who that family was. The holidays are magical. They really are.
Oh, they really are. And I hope you don't mind that with your beautiful story, Zachary, and you always being, you know, the teacher and educator, you move the story to paying it forward and you know, doing something for others. If you'll just allow me, forgive me, can we just sit in the miracle that it was for you, you know, and your family, period. And rather than even for now making kind of actionable item out of it, in terms of, oh, let's pay things forward, and the beauty of paying things forward, which it is beautiful. In this holiday season, which the holiday season always makes me more cognizant of, is I just want to sit in the miracle that it was, and how personal the miracle was. If we can just sit in the miracle as it is, and not even make something out of it or do something with it, and literally just sit in awe and wonder of the magic of that miracle.
Thank you for holding that true. There was a moment where the six of us just kind of stood in silence when we found the bag on the front porch, somewhat in awe or just in shock that somebody, a group of people, did this for us. Not only did they do this for us, but they did it without putting their name on it, without needing a thank you. Like, they did it seemingly purely just for us. And to your point about living in that space, I don't even remember what we got. I don't even remember any of that, but I do remember it's almost as if time just kind of paused, and my family and I together just stopped. Everything just kind of stopped, and we took a collective breath. And also we're having a shared experience of like, wow.
Exactly. As we're sitting here and we're talking about miracles, it's just because for me, miracles are every day. Honestly, like, I just really feel that, and this is my belief, not everyone has to agree with it, but I do believe that miracles are everyday happenings, and that they're around us and they are in us, meaning, you know, just having breath and the heart beating and the exchanging of oxygen and how our organ systems work in concert with each other is miraculous. And though science can explain it, literally each and every one of us is a miracle. And that is what I believe. And so miracles are very personal to me because that is what I believe. And that's what I think miracles are about is very personal and about what do you believe. Gosh, again, poorly stated, but what I keep thinking of is even those that are not of strong, say, spirituality or faith. I think many people know the story of our 1980 U.S. men's hockey team beating Russia, and the most famous phrase from that was the announcer yelling, "Do you believe in miracles?" It's called the Miracle on Ice. It's, "Do you believe in miracles?" And I love that because it really does boil down to, what do you believe? Do you believe in miracles? What is a miracle to you? Does it have to be this big parting of the Red Sea kind of thing? Or is it the beauty that the sun just rose? That is a miracle. That you have breath is a miracle. That my children were gifted to me, that's a miracle. There's just miracles everywhere if one chooses to see it that way and believes in miracles. And I love the holidays for that, because it's a time for even us adults, we can suspend our disbelief and put away, at least for now, any sort of cynicism or the need to be right or the need to explain, and instead just live in awe and childlike wonder of the magic and the miracle that is life. For me, obviously, faith and my Christian faith is integral part of me. I won't even say it is a part of me. It is my centered grounding from which my other facets grow. So my Christian faith is foundational for me. So obviously I love Christmas. And even for those, cafeteria Christians, meaning where they pick and choose when they're going to believe or whatnot. Christmas, I think arguably Christmas and Easter are the big holidays in the Christian faith. I posed to some of my friends who I know are practicing Christians. I've asked many a friend, just out of curiosity, no judgment, which holiday is more important to either you as a person, or what you believe is the more important, if there's such a thing, holiday in the Christian faith, Christmas or Easter. The holiday that is mentioned most is Easter. Mm-hmm. And I'm not debating or anything. I'm just saying for myself, I have to say that what is defining for me for the Christian faith and then defining for me as a person is actually Christmas. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for the resurrection of Easter, but I identify most, and what resonates and moves me most is the story of Christmas. Mm-hmm. And even for those that are non-Christians, there is beauty and there's a beautiful message in the Christmas story, so that if one can even suspend their disbelief right now relative to Christianity, there's still a lot of miraculous beauty in the Christmas story. And why I say suspend your disbelief, I mean, when we are moved by inspiring movies, fictional movies, mm-hmm. and we sit in the movie theater, at that point of watching the movie, we are suspending our disbelief. We are not saying, oh, this is Tom Cruise who really does this. It's right. We are suspending our disbelief there. Or even well-known stories like The Little Engine That Could, I think I can. And we get so much message and inspiration from that story. We suspend our disbelief when we talk about that story, because we know the engine isn't talking, but there's still meaning and message in that story. Yes. So I mention this. So for those who are non-Christians, I'm not here to preach religiosity, and I'm not here to preach churchianity to anyone. But if one can just suspend their disbelief about the meaning that can be gleaned from the story of Christmas, please allow me to share why Christmas for me is the quintessential holiday for me, myself and Christianity, which is I identify with the story so much because I am in awe of the miracle that was the birth of Jesus, in that here is divine God, divine universe, divine source, however you want to name God with a capital G, if God does, if the word God doesn't resonate and actually might even be off-putting because of somebody's life experiences, use or choose a different word: universe, source, force. Alan Watts says you can't get wet by the word water. It's not about what you call it. But anyway, the divine being made human, and the divine, rather than coming in with pomp and circumstance and big armies, and powerful, I don't know, how else would you describe, a coming in and an entrance of pomp and circumstance, or a show of strength. Instead, the miracle comes in the divine coming through a humble child, in a dirty manger. The parents, for sure, must have been ostracized, ridiculed, looked down upon, with the idea of, okay, sure, Mary, that you're a virgin, right. Pregnant woman. Okay. And here's Joseph. Okay, Joseph, sure, you didn't impregnate her. Or even Joseph himself, living with any sort of ridicule or people looking down on him, like, how can you believe this woman? Or even he stirring within himself the faith and belief in the miracle that, yes, my fiance is pregnant by no other man. There's just so many miracles in that story that actually translate to struggles that we live in now in life as humans, and the stirring of belief and faith to get through hardships, persevere through hardships, put weight and value in the humble as opposed to the magnificent. That's why Christmas speaks to me, is actually not in the grandiosity and the magnificence, but in the quiet humility of the ability to find the divine in humanity. And that means even in myself, that I can actually believe that there is divine within me, that I can find God loving me and manifesting in me. And that is possible. That is what I believe. And that's what miracles are about. And that's what magic is about, is what do you believe, and what will you suspend for the sake of hope, love, joy, peace. It's that faith, it's that belief. And I know many a parent who I've actually had talked to them, many, a Christian parent actually, who are vehemently angry about the idea of Santa Claus and make it a point to never entertain the idea of Santa Claus, dispel the idea of Santa Claus to their kids, and even chastise those who use, if you will, the idea of Santa Claus as unchristian. And I'm not going to judge, but I will just say, as perhaps a counterpoint to consider, that if in any way Santa is a part of the magic, the mystery, and the miracle of the joy that is Christmas, there's something to be said about keeping and continuing that idea of a Santa Claus, the idea of magic that actually is a part of the Christian Christmas story. It's all, what do you choose to believe?
I have the biggest smile on my face and so many thoughts. But the first thing that I will say is I love that we got to know that about you. And I love that you shared that with us, and that you invited us to know more about you and your faith, and how the holidays bring, even though you carry the idea that miracles are all around on a daily basis, that the holidays bring a very big reminder to you that that's the case. And that the holidays, as a person of faith, also bring a reminder that the divine is within you. And that divine, whatever it is why you are enough just as you are, because there's the divine within you. And it's okay, at least for me, to get that reminder. And it's okay to live in that reminder, even if it's something that we try to carry with us throughout the year, to have the holiday season be a reminder that magic is not something outside of being human. It's actually something germane to being human. And it's okay to have that reminder. And if it's Santa Claus Claus to you, or the Hanukkah story. The Hanukkah story is all about the magic or the mystery that these candles with just a limited amount of oil managed to stay lit for 8 days. There's magic in that story as well. So the first thing that I will say is just thank you. Thank you for inviting us in to know more about you. And then also thank you for inviting us into the way that you perceive this, to give that to us and remind us, right? So that we can take that with us into January or February or March, and to also to give us maybe another way to think about the holidays. That, going back to the way that we started the episode, this moment for my family was something that happened to us. This was magic that happened to us. And then, yes, I went to that place of thinking, okay, what can I do for other people? And how can I get, and you said, no, just live in that pause. And I think why that pause is critical, at least I'm thinking out loud, if you don't mind, is that pause is critical because I think it connects us to awe and wonder within us, and sees that we are not only capable of experiencing it, but we're also capable of giving it or living it or manifesting or putting it out there. That awe, wonder, magic, miracles exist within, not just outside. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And exactly. And because, there was a natural instinct to kind of be like, oh, who gave it? And I don't know who gave it. And we still don't know who gave it. But there's actually even suspend having to explain that, because the fact that it's there on your door, that's magic and miracle. Yeah. The fact that these people, whoever they may be, were moved somehow for some reason to do this for you and your family, that is miracle. And so where did that miracle come from? The divine God, source, force, somehow I choose to believe moved them to do that. So they experienced that miracle. There's miracles all along in that one story. And to have to explain it is unnecessary. That is why it's magical. That is why it is awesome. That is why it is miraculous.
If I can, and forgive me if I put you on the spot, as a person of Christian faith, there's the story of Jesus being born and all of the little big miracles wrapped up into that story. The story doesn't really stop necessarily with Jesus's birth. It also extends into January. And there are people of Christian faith that believe that the Christmas period actually extends beyond December 25th into January. And I think you're going to, if you don't mind, if I can put you on the spot to talk about it, the pause and wonder and awe that you're talking about, I think also existed when some people showed up to visit Jesus as well. And if we dig into that part of the story to further go into what you're saying, if you don't mind, could you talk about when the wise men show up and meet Jesus also?
Absolutely. And if I can just start from even before then, which is when Jesus was born, and an angel let the world know. Who did the angel tell? Lowly shepherds. And that in and of itself is a miracle, that you don't have to be some high and mighty with a title and one of the three kings for you to know, see, hear, feel the presence of God, the force, source, divine universe. That no matter what station you are in life, you matter. You are seen. You are important. God, the angels are trying to speak to you. And often it's not the ones who are of power and are lofty that necessarily God is trying to reach and God is trying to talk to. And sometimes, especially, it's because of being in such places of high power, money, and that's where the focus is on, that they actually even miss the message and they don't hear the message, or they don't see the angel trying to tell them. And when I say see the angel, I'm not getting woo, like I've never, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, again, to suspend one's disbelief. But it's wherever you are in your station in life, that you are enough. And this Christmas story of the angel alerting the shepherds first, right where they were amongst, smelly animal, cute that they are, smelly animals, and they're in the fields, but they were the ones that were alerted first. I think there's miracle and awe and resonance in that part of the story as well. Then to your point, yes. So then three kings arrived. January 5th. I'm bad Christian that I am, that I don't know if it's January 5th or January 6th. But the three kings came, from the Orient. They're bearing very valuable gifts at the time. What I love about that is here they came, obviously kings with valuable gifts, but who were they bowing down to? They were bowing down to a humble, helpless human baby in a manger, but they were bowing down to them because it's not about earthly treasures and earthly measures. That's not where the miracle lies.
And the moment when they first see Jesus, that pause, that wonder, that time to just be in that place, in that emotion, in that reality, and to not do anything but just live in that spot, to kneel in that moment before Jesus is exactly that same pause that you're talking about.
Yes. And when one learns to put on the miracle-seeking lenses, the miracle-seeking glasses, when one learns to see and look for through those lenses, through that perspective, it is amazing the clarity of how many miracles are really around in everyday life. It's based on what you believe. Mm-hmm. What do you believe? Do you believe that this universe is a good universe? Do you believe that God is good, however you may call God? Do you believe in that? Then look for that. There is a psychological term in terms of confirmation bias and selectivity bias. But again, that's me explaining. I don't need to explain because I feel it and I know it. I know there's one of my favorite sermons by Joel Osteen is called By This I Know. Mm-hmm. And the point of that sermon is to look back on one's life. And just as easily as we can recount the bad things that have happened, can we also sometimes even in those very quote, bad things that have happened in life, what are the good things that have come from it to flip the perspective of even those bad times and bad events in life? Or never mind even the bad things, we're not denying it, but we're just shifting our focus so that we can confirm with our selectivity bias, the good that has happened. Where can I find miracles that have happened in my life? I can list a number of literally, I believe literal miracles in my life. We've talked about some of them in terms of, my patient from September 11th and how she lived and she happened to be Tagalog speaking and needed to speak to me. I think that was a miracle. I think that it's a miracle that I'm a woman orthopedic surgeon, and that's just a longer story and a longer episode. But there are many things in life that could have, should have, would have deterred me from what it is I do and where I am relative to career and vocation. There's a miracle where in living in DC, my husband and I, there was a humongous rainstorm and we were in our little Honda Accord coupe and we were going up a hill and it was raining so hard that our engine flooded out and we were near the top of the hill and the engine flooded out and stalled. And so we were starting to, what's the word? We started to reverse the water. The flooding water was pushing us back down the hill. And then all of a sudden we felt a slight nudge from behind. And it was this big truck that we never saw before, but a big truck hit our bumper on purpose ever so slightly and pushed us all the way up the hill. My husband actually had to get out of the car to help push and steer the car. And his shoes got washed away because of the flooding water. But this truck out of nowhere pushed us up to the top of the hill. And then at the top of the hill, miraculously, the car turned on and we left. We have no idea who that, drove that truck. That was a miracle. We talked about in the Thanksgiving episode, the miracle of an angel helping me in an airport to make my flight. Never saw him, still don't know who that is. That's a miracle. Another miracle is driving back from Wilmington, Delaware, when I was on my pediatric orthopedic rotation and I had to drive the 2-3 hours by myself back from Delaware to DC. I'm always nervous about that drive coming from Hawaii, where a long ride is like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so here I am on the Interstate Freeway 95 and I'm driving and I'm in the left lane and a big, 16-wheeler was to my right, but but veered into my left lane. And so I veered onto the rumble strip and wasn't ready. Cause I mean, this is I-95. So I'm going like 75, 80 miles an hour. And that rumble strip, like startled me, and this 16 wheeler startled me coming into my lane. And so I swerved, turned completely around. So I'm facing traffic. And I'm now driving. I'm not driving, but the car is swerving and gliding backwards. I'm seeing traffic, and I come to the median and I lightly bump the median. That's it. So otherwise my car was, it was damaged on the side that it hit the median, but for the most part, no crash. I'm driving 75, 80 miles an hour. A 16 wheeler nearly hit me, and I walked away injury-free, drove after the police came and made sure everybody's okay, drove the car the rest of the way to DC. I'm sorry, but to me, that's a miracle that somehow some angel drove my car, swerved it, lightly brought it to the median without hitting anybody or my being hit. That's a miracle. That's how I choose to see life. It's how I choose to believe. What do you believe? Our listeners and our viewers, what do you believe? What do you want to believe?
And we have language for this all the time that we don't, I think, even realize is an acknowledgement that something just happened that is extraordinary. Can you believe it? Out of nowhere. What are the chances? Like, we use these phrases, and I think if we step back from those phrases, what we're saying is it was miraculous. It was magical. It was miraculous, and you shared, I was in awe. Like, my jaw was literally on the floor. I mean, they just came out of you, like, these stories, no joke. But what I also want to go back to is how many people have stories about miracles that have happened that maybe you participated in that you didn't even realize that you did. Or, that truck driver, right? So that truck driver that pushed you and your husband back up the hill, that to him was probably just like, I saw people in need and this is what I did. He got to participate in that miracle, right? So not only do miracles happen to us, but we can also be agents of miracles ourselves, that lives within us. And whether or not you are a person of faith, I think what you're helping us get to is the questions of do you believe that you are capable of miracles, that miracles live in you? Do you believe on a daily basis that there is good within you, that yes, things happen, bad, like tough things happen, but do you still believe in yourself that there is good that can help you get through those things, or to see the miracle in them, or to understand that maybe there's a plan for that kind of experience? And I'm a person of faith as well. We share that in common. But even if you're a listener not of faith, I think there's still room for you to ask these same questions, but just put them internally and put them about yourself so that you come back to me. We choose to connect it to the universe and God, and we choose to connect it to our faith. But even if that's not for you, and the holidays as a faith-centric time are not for you, there's still room within you to say, are there miracles in me? And I choose to believe that there are.
And am I a miracle?
Exactly. Yes.
Am I a miracle? And be witness to miracles. Suspend your disbelief and just be open to the possibility of being witness to miracles. I can't help, we were talking about music and Mariah Carey in a previous holiday episode, but a song that actually didn't come out during the Christmas holidays, but has become considered a holiday song, is Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. And I don't want to sing it because it's Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, but it's the only way I can think of the words. It's just
the song from Prince of
Egypt. There can be miracles when you believe.
No hope is frail.
Hope is frail. It's hard to kill. Yeah. Who knows what miracles you can achieve? When you believe, somehow you will when you believe. It's all about what you believe.
Can I share a quick story? That was beautiful, by the way.
Oh my God, no. Please don't judge me, everybody. Like this, that was so impromptu. I'm embarrassed.
Stop it.
But it's just because that's the only way I can know the words.
Yes.
Sorry.
Stop it. That was
beautiful.
Beautiful.
It is. It's ultimately, it's about what you believe, and you have control over what you believe. That's what's so amazing and empowering. is you have control of what you believe. Do you believe in miracles? Please share your story. I'm sorry.
I was recently on a trip, and my husband and I were traveling. We ended up meeting another couple, same-sex couple that we were hanging out with, and just a really good group of guys. Well, I was going to go to the gym. They decided they wanted to go with me. So we go to the gym and we're working out separately. They're working out together and I'm working out by myself. We get towards the end of our time there. They check in with me. Are you ready? I'm like, oh, I need a couple more minutes. And I had brought a lock with me so that we put all our stuff in the same lock in the locker room. So I go back to the locker room to get my stuff and they're not there yet. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe they're out on the floor. So I go back out on the floor. And as I'm walking around, I notice that EMS is there and there's a gentleman and they're doing CPR there. And yeah, they're doing first aid on him. I'm like, oh, that's awful. Right. And I'm not even paying attention to who that is. So then I circle back around and go back to the locker room. I'm sitting there and one of the gentlemen comes in. I've got their stuff. I'm like, okay, we're ready to go. It's weird. Like I just feel for this person. There's somebody on the floor. EMS is here, et cetera. And he starts to walk away from me, like, and his eyes get really big. And I'm like, where are you going? He's like, well, I need to, and he like leaves. 3 minutes later, he comes back and he's like, Zachary, it's my husband.
Oh my God.
So now we go. I just met them like 2 days ago. We go and his partner is a big man, like tall and muscular, but like big. Talk about miracles. Okay. He actually had died by the grace of God and truly miracles. There were two gentlemen that were working out next to him, both taller and bigger, who were nurses. Immediately after he went down and collapsed, they were doing CPR on him. One on doing chest compressions, the other doing mouth to mouth. So immediately there were men working on him. The gym was not far from the regional center. So EMS was there in a matter of minutes. I'm talking maybe 2 minutes. So right away, he's getting care. I happen to have a car. This is not an area where most of the time you had a car. So I could take my friend to the hospital and be with him. In addition, we could get some of their other friends that were there in their party with them as well. There was another Good Samaritan woman there who came to the hospital after, because she was part of the group that was immediately tending to him once he fell, came to the hospital to just check in and see if there was anything else that she could do. And I'm not even talking about the nurses and the doctors and all of the people that were in the hospital working on him and doing all the tests and making sure, but just leading up to it. What are the chances? Think about the miracle that as soon as that happened, there were two nurses right next to him. For whatever reason, I felt compelled to just do a sweep, which is when I could see that something had happened, so that when I'm in the locker room, I immediately say to his partner, it's odd. And I feel for this person, EMS is here. And then he somehow knew, right? And then could go and then immediately be there to like figure out what was going on and be in that moment, which is a traumatic moment. I mean, it was hard for him to see his partner the way that he did, of course, right? And I'm not taking away from the trauma and the stress of that moment, but he himself has said it's truly a miracle when you think of all of the pieces that came together. Now, by the grace of God, his partner is alive and doing well and is recovering beautifully. But even going prior to that, just thinking of all the different pieces that came together, like you on the highway, or, where that could have ended very traumatically and badly, but it didn't. You know what I mean? That's a big example, but even distilling it down, there are little miracles within the bigger quote unquote miracle umbrella.
Exactly.
Maybe we try to sanitize a little bit with what are the chances? What are the odds? Can you believe? Yes, you can. Because miracles do exist and miracles happen. And I choose to believe that every day. That story.
I love it. And I'm just pinging because number one, if somebody wants kind of a tool or a practice of, okay, fine, I'll suspend my disbelief. How do I look for miracles? To your story, think of the somehows. Somehow this happened. Somehow that happened. Somehow. So think of the somehows, and there's a miracle there. Yep. The other reason why I'm pinging is because, you're talking, and clearly this is a medical story or medical miracle. And my being a physician, and we've talked about this, it's because I'm a physician, and it is because of the science that I know that is explainable. It is because of science that I believe in miracles. Mm-hmm. It's because of what I know that is explainable and black and white and concrete and science, that it is with that I know, I believe, I don't believe, I know that there is a God, and I know and believe in miracles because of what I know and because of what I've witnessed. And I have to tell you, as much as I said, sit in the moment and sit in awe, and which is what I do. And I do sit in awe. Honestly, it's because of science that I believe and I know in miracles. And it's what I witness truly every day in medicine, and the miracles there, and even the miracles that I can explain. Like I said, I can explain the heart pumping and moving red blood cells that are carrying oxygen to your lungs and then to your tissues. That's all explainable. But the fact that somehow it all works together, that is a miracle. Yeah. And the funny thing is sitting in awe of a miracle is one thing to behold. But ironically for me, there's also a part where it's kind of like, of course, that's miraculous. Of course, it's a miracle, because miracles are everyday occurrences. And I love my life that way. I love living my life that way, where of course there's a miracle, and living in awe of that. And that works for me. And I'm not saying this judgmentally. I'm just saying this as food for thought for those who might not believe in miracles or might not believe in a higher power. Truly, I don't say this judgmentally, but how is that working out for you in being right and in being able to explain everything? How is your life? And if your life is great, awesome. But I know that for me, my life is richer, fuller, abundant joy because of my belief and really knowing that there are miracles and there is a God, and that there's a God that loves us enough to come down in human form. And if he can do that for Jesus, he does that for each and every one of us.
So listeners and viewers, we want to wish you a happy holidays. We have gone through a number of episodes talking about what the holidays mean to us: music, gift giving, miracles. And we've shared with you what the holidays mean for us, also how it connects with Simply Enough. But to what Dr. Ignacio said, it's what you choose to believe. And I am grateful, Dr. Ignacio, for this, so that we can share, in the hopes that maybe we've given just some new ideas and new perspectives on how to see the holidays, and how what the holidays mean to us can actually translate to how we interact and see our life when we're not in the holidays, and how we can go forward throughout the entire year. Can we be ourselves and dance and sing or write poetry or just do us at all times in the year? Can we think about what gift giving actually means and what that moment is like at any time in the year? Can we see that miracles actually exist at any time in the year, and that we ourselves are miracles? These episodes that we have put together, the holidays, I think really capture the ways in which you and I like to approach our lives all the time. And yes, the reminder is lovely, right? The reminder is special for us during the holiday season. It's also a reminder that we are connected to something bigger, something deeper, something richer, something that fulfills our lives in a way that gives it so much meaning.
And the meaning that, especially when we talk about commercialization and everything like that, the meaning of holidays has become to be something big and huge and grandiose. And even things like our own episodes, music, gifts. But actually, we can even pare down the holidays even more. Since we're talking about simply enough, we can simplify the holidays even more. And in simplifying the holidays even more, that is how it's translatable to the rest of the year, which is the holidays simply are faith, hope, joy, and love. Faith, hope, joy, and love. So happy holidays to you, Zachary. I love you. Happy holidays to your family. Happy holidays, everybody. We wish you all faith, hope, joy, and love. Love you.
Love you.